Hi, this is Brian Hegney, instructor of Game and Interactive Media Design. And we just almost finished modeling the low poly barrel. I'm extremely maddened that this will not work exactly how I had pictured it working, but that's fine. I chose exactly the wrong number of slats. I probably should have chosen 18 slats. I think 18 would have been perfect. So now just note that, this is going to be slightly irksome. The reason why, you'll see in a second. Basically, we need to slice this top piece into multiple pieces. Okay. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to select the low poly model, which is called cylinder 01. I'm going to go ahead and rename that to LP_barrel, and that way it is now the low poly barrel. Now I have high poly, low poly. You'll notice I have this thing that I kept around for a little while. I thought I would use that and I never did. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Remember from a long time ago I saved this. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. There. Now we have two things. High poly, low poly barrel. Okay. I am going to go ahead and just hide the high poly barrel, and I'm going to show you how we're going to go ahead and cut this up. The easiest way to cut it up is to, well, I'll show you in a second. We're going to use the cut tool. So I'm going to select this object. And of course, as always, I'm going to add an edit poly on top. And we are going to use this cut tool right over here under edit geometry. Now the way this is going to work is you can hover your cursor around. You can like just start cutting, right? And you could right click and you've just cut this polygon up into different components, right? You've got this, you've got that, you've got that. Okay. Well, that was a really terrible cut, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that edit poly, and that's why I add edit polys on top of edit polys, because sometimes I just make a big mistake and I want to delete it. There. Edit poly. I'm going to do another cut. I want you to see that this cutting tool tells you when it's on a face, it will tell you when it's on an edge, and it will tell you when it's on a vertex. Do you see the difference between the cursor image? Here it's a square. Here it's, well, like a horizontally pushed plus. And then when you're over in a vertex, it is a little square. So, little square of a vertex, more of a plus when it's on an edge, and a bigger square when it's on a face. And what I'm going to do is make four-sided polygons, and I'm going to go ahead and start with this. So this is going to be one side, two sides. I'm going to click here on that vertex, and I'm going to click over to here and left click, and then right click to disable out of that cut, and then I'm going to right click one more time so I can go into polygon mode and just show you that I have this selected and this selected. And this is a quad, four-sided polygon. Okay, we can do that again. We can do that to a point. Okay, let me go ahead and hit cut again, and I'm going to cut from this vertex to this vertex. Right click. Now this is where it's going to be hard to actually cut properly. It's really hard to see that vert and that vert. I think I can do it based on the symbology of my cursor, but if you can't, there, oh, that was pretty good. If you can't, this is where we're going to have to go into F3 wireframe mode, and now I can kind of see this and that. And so I'm going to left click here. And I know that's a vertex because of the way my cursor shows. And I'm going to left click there. Right click. Of course, nothing happened, and I'm not sure why. Ew, yuck. That's why. So I don't know why this happened. Cutting can be really annoying. So do you see that? I accidentally cut on that face. I'm going to Control Z until it goes away. And maybe, this is actually really annoying. I'm gonna still enable cut and F3 cut there. I should be able to just cut right to there. And I did! I don't know why I wasn't able to do it before. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. Cut there. This is getting pretty close to a bunch of stuff, so I'm going to hope this works. I'm going to check it after I make that cut, just to make sure that worked. Yes, it did. It worked fine. I'm going to make sure I can see all of this stuff. Go into wireframe mode, and I'm going to orbit around until I'm pretty sure I will be able to really make sure I'm only cutting on that vertex. I'm just gonna keep doing it. If I make a mistake, I will fix it later. Oh, but that looks pretty good. And now I can kind of orbit around, turn on default lighting, and click from here to here. Now, if you heard me cursing earlier about, like, well, I should have had 18 staves instead of 20. Ugh. That's because, watch, I'm going to turn on my high poly barrel and go into this. These lines, even if I rotate my high poly barrel, I'm going to rotate my low poly barrel. You'll see why I'm kind of upset. Why can't I rotate it? Oh no, I lost my gizmo. Why did I lose my gizmo? Hold on. Oh, okay, yeah, I don't know why my gizmo was missing. I think I was just doing something weird. Okay, so if I go to rotate and I snap this for 5 degrees, let's say, what you're gonna notice is, like, notice how right now the lines that I cut for my low poly model don't match up with the lines of the actual high poly model, and they never will, because, oh, am I a liar? Yeah, if they do line up, if they do line up, well, now my staves aren't lining up with my low poly model, so I had to make a choice. It's a really annoying choice because I chose 10 staves instead of probably 18 would have been better. You can divide 360 by 18. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. But even now, when the staves line up, you see how the alignment of these is wrong. So I thought I was gonna prevent that, but that's okay. It'll just be a little wacky, but we'll be fine. So that's how I do that. Now notice the bottom was not. So remember when I spent a long time mirroring the top to fit the bottom? Well, guess what? That's not even gonna matter anymore. But what will matter is I don't want to have to recut the bottom because that was really annoying. So I'm gonna show you what I'm going to do with the low poly model. I'm going to use something called Symmetry. It is very different than mirror, or slightly different than mirror. Symmetry is when you want the object to stay the same object. So with mirror, we flipped it and made a copy, but with symmetry, we want the barrel to stay welded in the middle. So number one, I'm going to make that symmetrical along the z-axis. Okay. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete that. I think I'm going to set the pivot point to the center of the object. And now when I go to modify and add the symmetry, I don't know if this is going to work. Symmetry. Z, yes, the mirror, notice the mirror of the symmetry is set to the pivot point. Before it was down here where the pivot point is, so now I know this is exactly centered. Yay! Once that's mirrored, I can just say okay. And I can set hierarchy, affect pivot only, center to object, but also center to, or align it to itself in the Z position. to the minimum, say OK, and now that's fine. The pivot point is in the exact center at the bottom, and I can say edit poly on top just to be safe. There we go. And in this case, now I have a 3D high poly and a low poly version of a barrel. I can tap 7 to show that this barrel has 218 polygons and the high poly barrel has 60,000. So a bit of a difference there, and we are going to, in the next videos, we will look at how to bake materials, bake all of this down into materials and normal maps, a diffuse map, and a shadows map. Alright, hope you had fun, and I will see you later. Bye!